Welcome back to the AI Breakdown Brief, all the AI headline news you need in around 5 minutes. Now, today's big news is definitely, I think, ChatGPT launching their Enterprise Edition. This is a much anticipated feature, and so the main episode will be all about that. But there were kind of a lot of other things that were announced recently as well that I think are also pretty meaningful. Let's kick off today with a policy discussion. Obviously, right now, all around the world, governments are trying to figure out how to make policy and how to regulate artificial intelligence. We did an episode last week talking about how governments are not only trying to figure out policy, but also trying to figure out how to leverage the fact that they're making policy as a competitive advantage. The United Kingdom is certainly positioning itself as a leader not only in policy, but also as being friendly to AI entrepreneurship. Spain just announced an AI agency last week that it's hoping to use in part, I think, to capture jobs. And then, of course, there is Washington, D.C. This year has seen meetings at the White House for AI leaders, and there's a growing conversation in Congress and the Senate about what it would mean to create guardrails around artificial intelligence, while also trying to understand that the U.S.'s leadership in the space is a competitive advantage not only in the economy, but also in geopolitics, especially vis-a-vis our relationship with China. Interestingly, relative to many new technologies, U.S. political leaders have been fairly open about the fact that they just don't know very much about this field and they need to catch up and get up to speed. I think that's a very productive disposition, and should it have been adopted in other areas, cough, cough, crypto, we might be in a much better place right now than we currently are. But in either case, one of the people who is pushing most is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Earlier this summer, he promised to set up 9 or more sessions for his colleagues in the Senate and in Washington more broadly to learn about and discuss key issues around artificial intelligence. On Monday, a spokesperson for Schumer said that the series of policy forums will kick off next month and that a group of very influential tech leaders will join as part of the first session. According to Schumer's office, attendees include Elon Musk, who, if you listened to yesterday's episode, has premiered new full self-driving for Tesla, which is powered by artificial intelligence. Mark Zuckerberg, of course, whose Meta is one of the leaders, particularly in the open source-ish side of the AI space. And then in addition to those two, who of course still have not fought their cage fight yet, Microsoft's Satya Nadella, Alphabet's Sundar Pichai, OpenAI's Sam Altman, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, and former Google CEO Eric Schmidt are all confirmed to be in attendance. The closed-door bipartisan meeting is to be held on September 13th. The spokesperson said that in addition to the tech leaders, it will also include representatives from advocacy, civil rights workers, and creative groups. Obviously, the closer to that date we get, I think the more information we'll have. But that is a heck of a lot of firepower in one room at one time. And so you have to think that it might be more significant ultimately than just another photo op. Now, one of the reasons that politicians are feeling pressure to figure out some policy around artificial intelligence is that it appears to be growing as an issue that the electorate cares about. Pew Research just released a survey, and the announcement blog post they titled "Growing Public Concern About the Role of Artificial Intelligence in Daily Life." The banner headline that has been splashed all around the internet is that 52% of Americans say they feel more concerned than excited about the increased use of AI. Only 10% said they are more excited than concerned, while 36% said they feel an equal mix. A couple things about this that I think are interesting. One is that they've asked this question in each of the last 2 years as well. The numbers in 2021 and 22 were pretty consistent. In 2021, 37% were more concerned than excited, whereas 38% were more concerned than excited in 2022. It was 45 and 46% respectively who were equally excited and concerned, and 18 and 15% of more excited than concerned in those 2 years before this year. The rise of ChatGPT and all the other tools around it, the Midjourneys, etc. of the world, seem to have increased that anxiety, perhaps just with their display of power. Now, of course, the other possibility is that these results reflect the fact that media has been giving a ton of attention to the concern side of artificial intelligence, be it extinction risk concern or simply concern for jobs. We've also, of course, got the Hollywood strikes, which have AI as a central issue. So all in all, this kind of makes sense. Now, as you also might expect, the younger people are, the more excited they are, and the older they are, the more concerned they are, but it's still not totally dramatic. For example, of the 18 to 29 set, 42% are more concerned versus excited, and 17% are more excited versus concerned. That's certainly different than the 52 to 10 number overall, but not like an opposite or a huge shift. Now, interestingly, another really powerful part of this survey is when Americans were asked of their view of AI's impact on specific areas. When it came to keeping personal information private, Americans overwhelmingly said that AI hurts more than it helps. 53% said it hurts more than it helps, versus only 10% said that it helps more than it hurts. But in nearly every other area that they were asked, people said that AI helps more than it hurts. In terms of finding products and services online, 49% said it helps more than it hurts versus 15% said that it hurts more than it helps. Companies making safe cars and trucks, 37% said it helps more than it hurts versus just 19% said that it hurts more than it helps. Doctors providing quality care to patients, people taking care of their health, people finding accurate information online. All of these had more people thinking that it helps more than it hurts than the other way around, which I think adds credence to the idea that part of the concern may be on a very large general level. It may be big generalist concerns about jobs, about safety, or it may be that our concerns about privacy outweigh what we think are the benefits in these other specific areas. In either case, I think these are really interesting statistics. And since the survey was conducted between July 31st and August 6th, they're actually pretty up to date. Now, moving on to our next topic. As I mentioned, the big story today is ChatGPT Enterprise. But you'll remember that last week, the big update around OpenAI was that it was talking about its scraper that was going across the web and getting information for training future models, and that they told people how to block it. According to CNN Business, the number of major media and news organizations that have taken that proactive step to block ChatGPT has gone up significantly. We heard about the New York Times and Reuters last week, but now others that have blocked GPTbot include Disney, Bloomberg, The Washington Post, The Atlantic, Axios, Insider, ABC News, ESPN, Condé Nast, Hearst, and Vox. As CNN writes, though, what exactly these media giants do next, however, remains to be seen. I think in the same way that the Hollywood strikes feel representative potentially of concerns more broadly about AI replacement for human labor, some of the legal fights around publishing and training data when it comes to authors and publications versus the big tech companies will likely have impacts on the shape of how AI is trained in the future as well. Overall, it continues to be super interesting times in AI land. If you are a person who likes consuming your news via the written word, let me end by asking you to check out the AI Breakdown newsletter. You can find a link on breakdown.network, which is obviously the network's website, or you can go to the AIBreakdown.beehive.com. That's BEEHIIV.com. I send out a newsletter with the 5 most important stories every morning, and I'd love to see you there. Thanks as always for listening or watching, and I'll be back soon with the main AI Breakdown.